Hello everyone, and welcome to the second round of the 2015 Hindle Exhaust Pro Sport Bike Championships from Autodrome Saint-Eustache, northwest of Montreal, Quebec, part of the 2015 Mopar Canadian National Motorcycle Road Racing Championships. I'm your series announcer, Frank Wood. This CSBK national race coverage is brought to you by Mopar, Honda Canada, and Dunlop. Ladies and gentlemen, race fans, here now is the grid for the second round of the Hindle Exhaust Pro Sport Bike National Championship, this one from Saint-Eustache. Starting in 9th position from Saint-Lazare, Quebec, riding the 316 machine, Stacy Nesbitt. Alongside her on the number 17 machine from Upper Coverdale, New Brunswick, Caleb Noyles. Moving up to row 2. Starting in the middle of row 2 on the number 46 machine in from Peterborough, Ontario, Tommy Casas. To his left, starting in 7th position, is number 18, Philippe Massé from Saint-Hyacinthe, Quebec. To his right, starting in 5th position, number 229, Darren James, here from Deep Cove, British Columbia. We'll now move up to our front row. Starting on the front row from 4th position, the number 1 rider on the Triumph 675 from Bellefontaine, Ontario, Kenny Reedman. Alongside him, mounted on the Honda, from Saint-Marthe, Quebec, number 76, Louis Rafa. Starting from 2nd position, in from Sarnia, Ontario, mounted on a Yamaha that wears the number 47, Will Hornblower. And from pole position, the kid from Keene, mounted on the Honda Canada Accelerated Technologies Honda CBR 600RR, number 20, Jody Christie. This will be an 18-lap affair. When the blue streak lights go off, the field launching is at Louis Rafa. Louis Rafa is first off the mark with Jody Christie right in behind him, heading into turn number 2 now. Christie running in 2nd spot. Will Hornblower holds on to 3rd spot, and I believe that to be Darren James in 4th spot as they make their run down in towards the carousel. Louis Rafa on the 76 machine, hot off his successes at Calabogie Motorsports in the Vintage Road Race Association finals, where he won both of his races there. Now with that inner fire burning in him, and Rafa has got a sizable lead as we start to work lap number 1 of 18. And alongside Christie comes Hornblower as he moves up to challenge. Christie now has been passed. Kenny Reedman actually is the one that's made the pass there. Kenny Reedman has moved into 2nd spot. The champion and number 1 plate holder, we misidentified him on the first lap, but now they're working the upper bowl as they come out onto the front straightaway for their first run, recording lap number 1. Rafa, Reedman, Christie, James, Philippe Massé. Massé mounted on the number 18 Kawasaki, and he's sitting back there in 5th spot waiting for his opportunity. Meanwhile, the defending champion Kenny Reedman wasting no time getting up into 2nd spot. He has that number 1 plate, and he dearly wants to put it on the front of that Triumph 675 at the end of the 2015 season, just like he did back in 2014. Out of the bowl now, Rafa, a very sizable lead. Then Reedman, and then a big gap again back to Jody Christie and Darren James. James in from British Columbia, Deep Cove, British Columbia on the number 229 machine. Philippe Massé running in behind him. Then we have Tommy Casas on the number 46 machine, Will Hornblower on the 47, and Stacy Nesbitt rounding out the field on the 316 machine. Nesbitt in from Saint-Lazare, Quebec, and keeping the pack within striking distance. Back past the tower once more, Louis Rafa. Rafa with a clear field of vision. And it stretched it out a bit, rather. Christie may be waiting for those rain tires to warm up and get to the right consistency, giving him the Dunlop gription that he wants. 3-time Hindle Exhaust Pro Sport Bike champion himself, and forfeiting that championship and the number 1 plate that goes with it to Kenny Reedman last year. Reedman on the GE Capital, Reedman Management, and Sturgis Cycle supported. Their Triumph 675, also Triumph Factory solidly behind. Now Christie starting to put some distinct pressure on Reedman. Christie, of course, the Superbike champion. And in this, the Hindle Exhaust Pro Sport Bike class, he would very much like to win this championship as well this year and crown it off with 2 number 1 plates when the season is over. Christie still stalking now, and Darren James sitting back in 4th spot, playing a smart race there, keeping Christie within striking distance, who in turn has kept Reedman within striking distance. So a huge battle going on now in behind Louis Rafa. Rafa way out in front now. It looks like a runaway so far for the St. Marthe Honda Canada sponsored number 76. Louis Rafa is having a career ride here. A three-way battle now for second spot, and yet another three-way battle to try to sort out at fifth spot with Philippe Massé leading that pack. Reedman, Christie, and James in pursuit of Louis Rafa. Now keep in mind we have 4 cameramen around this racetrack, and some of the riders, I believe the top 4 riders, are all carrying cameras, so we're going to have some fabulous footage that this commentary will complement on CSBK TV. Rafa now still stretching it out, and this time around Kenny Reedman's got a little breathing space. Meanwhile, Philippe Massé is leading a train of riders and starting to close up on Darren James, so this could end up being a big fist fight before this one is over. On to the back straightaway once more, and off the bowl is Louis Rafa. Kenny Reedman now starting to break away from Jody Christie and the Darren James battle that's going on behind him. James right in the draft of Jody Christie coming off the back straightaway into turn number 7. Rafa, Reedman, Christie, and James, that's your top 4. Then Tommy Kazas, Philippe Massé, Will Hornblower, and Stacy Nesbitt, all in through the infield curvery. As past the main tower here at Saint-Eustache once more goes the 76 machine of Louis Rafa. Meanwhile, the battle between James and Christie is starting to heat up a bit, and as we mentioned, it's definitely happening. Philippe Massé is dragging some friends along, and they're soon going to be joining into what may well be a 6-man fight for that final podium spot. We'll see how that plays out in the end. Christie holds on to third spot, but James is all over him. Rafa, huge lead. Reedman with a big gap. And then the racing starts, and that's Christie and James going at it now. Oh, and Tommy Kazas having a bit of a moment there, coming off the back straightaway and hitting some standing water. You can see that Yamaha, Peterborough Cycle Salvage, and Yamaha Canada helping to support that young pro rider, and Parts Canada as well, of course. James has caught Christie now. Darren James has caught up to Christie. James has moved into third spot. And Christie ain't letting him get away. Christie staying right in his wheel tracks now in through turn 4 as they head up over the hump and down into the carousel once more. The anticipated battle with Philippe Massé bringing some friends along has not materialized just yet, as some of the riders are starting to spread out dramatically. James, for instance, has really pulled away from Christie now. He laid the hammer down last lap around, put the pass on him. That was a bit surgical, but he got it done. He's moved into third spot now, and James has been a long time since he stood on a podium in a pro race here in Canada, since the Canadian Thunder days when he rode for Harley Davidson and Buell, but right now he's holding on to third spot on that Trevor Dealey supported Yamaha R6. Rafa speeds by again. He's in a race of his own, as is Kenny Reedman, and now James starting to stretch it out a bit. And here comes Kazas. Parts Canada supported Tommy Kazas. The pro rookie is right behind Jody Christie. Kazas now putting in a career ride. Boy, he's getting some notification here. The Yamaha rider, Parts Canada, helping to support that young man out of Peterborough, Ontario. And Kazas is just one of the riders vying for that Pro Rookie of the Year award from Sunoco Fuels and Brooklyn Cycle Racing. He and Stacy Nesbitt and a few other folks, but in this particular race, he and Stacy Nesbitt are the pro rookies, and Kazas is definitely putting in eyebrow-raising ride here as he runs in fifth spot, in behind the former sport bike champion, former Hindle exhaust sport bike champion, Jody Christie. Rafa past the tower once more. There now is Reedman, then James, then Christie, and Kazas, and now Hornblower starting to pick up on a bit of a draft. I think Will Hornblower out of Sarnia, Ontario, on the Bob's Motorsport sponsored Yamaha R6 is starting to gather things up there and get into the race. That may well become a 4-man race before this race is over. Oh yeah, down into the bowl they go. Hornblower definitely closing up on that group. On the back straightaway, it continues to be Louis Rafa. He has got his sails set fully and a clear field of vision as he seems to be coming up and closing a bit perhaps on Rafa. We're at the halfway mark now. And the riders are being indicated that, so they'll complete lap 9 and start lap 10 of this 18-lap national championship final. Rafa, wow, this man is in a league of his own. He's in a different postal code, with Riedman tenaciously holding on. Now keep in mind that Riedman has suffered a couple of nasty falls here at Saint-Eustache through the practice sessions. He crashed the GE Capital Sturgis Cycle Ninja Superbike, and he'll be riding the backup Triumph actually in the Superbike race. Point being here that Riedman is nowhere near 100%. He is dislocated a shoulder back in Calabogie a few years back, and he keeps aggravating that injury, but you sure wouldn't know it if you look at him on the racetrack right now, because he seems very comfortable. He seems very focused, holding on to that second spot and perhaps hoping to reel in Louis Rafa. Meanwhile, James has gone on defensive, and Hornblower is definitely closing up on Tommy Kazas. The field has not spread out the way we anticipated. Stacy Nesbitt, for instance, is still keeping Will Hornblower within striking distance as she rounds out the field. Meanwhile, we pick up on our race leader, Louis Rafa, up over the hump and down into the carousel once more. Rafa off the starting line. He was brilliant off the starting line, and he has not looked back this entire race. Rafa has got, as we mentioned, a clear field of vision, and nobody is putting any pressure on him whatsoever. No doubt he's getting the pit signals to tell him exactly that he needs to keep it upright. He needs to bring it home. Oh, and bad news for Kawasaki fans as Philippe Massé has retired from the race. What a tough break for Philippe, the most likable young man from Saint-Eustache in Quebec. And unfortunately, he has now become a spectator. His Kawasaki gone silent. Rafa speeds by, then Riedman, then James. And it looks like we have a rider down in the bowl. I believe that is Will Hornblower, if I'm not mistaken. Hornblower on the 47 machine. Hornblower indeed, that confirmed. The Sarnia Speedster has had a mishap in the in turn 7, exiting the stock car oval and coming back onto the road course front straightaway. Meanwhile, we look to the back straightaway and pick up once more on Louis Rafa as he brings it into the aforementioned stock car oval, the S's, if you will, through the road course here. Riedman continues to hold on to second, James third, Christie and Kazas. James, Christie, and Kazas. That is the race within the race. And what a miracle it would be. Wouldn't it be exciting indeed to see that young pro rookie score his first podium appearance here at Saint-Eustache. We'll see how that plays out. Right now, he's got two other riders in front of him he has to deal with. Darren James, who has third spot. Jody Christie, who sits back in fourth spot. And as we mentioned, Tommy Kazas, the great pro rookie on the 46 machine, holding on to sixth. Hornblower got back up on the motorcycle. He's back on the track and back in action, but now in last place in behind Stacy Nesbitt. We'll chart his progress as the race continues. Now we pick up on our race leader, Louis Rafa, off the back straightaway once more on the Honda Canada sponsored CBR 600RR. Second spot now. Boy, Riedman's been holding on to second spot for a long time, but now he is being really pressured. He's got 4 riders in behind him now. I'll make that 3 riders, rather. James, Christie, and Kazas closing up dramatically on Riedman. So Riedman's injury that we mentioned earlier on may well be starting to play into this, and Riedman may be starting to be a bit of a hurting puppy and starting to slow down as a result of that. The point is that the distance between he and those in pursuit has shrunken dramatically in the last few laps. He had a pretty good cushion there in behind Louis Rafa, but that has disappeared now, and James closing in once more. It looks like Christie didn't get a very good push coming off the bowl and has faded back a bit. Tommy Kazas has him in his sights. We'll see whether Kazas has got anything for him. Kazas on the 46, Christie on the number 20. Darren James on the 229 machine. And of course, number 76, your race leader, Louis Rafa. Rafa, James, Christie, and Tommy Kazas. Definitely a four-way fight going on now for third spot. As Reedman gets a lot of pressure now, and the lead that Rafa has enjoyed has eroded somewhat as well. But Rafa quickly makes that back up on the back straightaway. That Honda CBR 600 giving him the horsepower he needs. This class, of course, limited to... Christie makes a move on the inside of Reedman. And Darren James had already put a pass on him. Now Christie following James, so James is up in the second spot, and Reedman has been shunted all the way back into fourth. The national champion and number one plate holder definitely fading fast in this one, as now Tommy Kazas has Reedman in his sights, and the young pro rookie may be making a move over the next couple of laps. James, Christie, Kazas, and Reedman, a four-way battle for second and third spot. That's what they're fighting for, the final podium positions, assuming the man up front that wears the number 76, Louis Rafa, is going to continue on his winning ways. He's been leading this race ever since the get-go, continues to lead it as we head down the back straightaway once more. Into the bowl they come. Rafa is in first place. Look at this battle now for second spot. James, Christie, Reedman, and Kazas. The top pros with a top pro rookie now. Kazas emigrating from Colombia in South America a couple of years ago. He was, of course, the Honda CBR 250 Challenge champion and has since moved into the amateur ranks, made his way through that fray, and makes his debut this year into the professional ranks, and now is doing a splendid job in only the second race of the 2015 Hindle Exhaust Pro Sport Bike National Championship. They're working the penultimate lap right now. Will Hornblower continues to circulate. He's scratching away for points, hoping to get some points towards a possible high finish in the championship standings. This being only round 2 of the year, of course, they'll be looking to pack up their... Here goes Christie. Christie into the inside of James in the bull. Christie moves into second spot. James back into third. Reedman, meanwhile, sitting back on the number 1 bike, watching all the action, and Tommy Kazas just waiting for his opportunity. Kazas like a coiled snake getting ready to strike. But Jody Christie figured he had just about enough of this. Now Darren James has the opportunity to score a podium position. As this the last of 18 laps. Louis Rafa leads the pack down going into the carousel. Rafa has definitely slowed it up a bit. He wants to bring this thing home upright. And meanwhile, the four-way battle for second and third continues. Here's Christie holding on to second. James is in third spot, right in his wheel tracks coming off the back straightaway. Kenny Reedman looking for an opportunity here to stuff it in on James. It's not going to happen. James slams the door on Reedman. No room in the inn. Reedman has been held in place. He holds on to fourth spot, and Kazas is in fifth spot. The checkered flag is out. The win goes to Louis Rafa. Christie is second. James is third. Reedman fourth, and Tommy Kazas in a pro rookie ride brings it home in fifth position. Stacey Nesbitt will net sixth spot out of this, and Will Hornblower will bring it down in seventh spot. We're going to head down to the podium and celebrate now.
Well, you know, this is, believe it or not, my first time ever standing on a national 600 podium. So I got to give a shout out to my guys, Thomas, Glenn, Corey, Jimmy, and Corndog for putting a bike underneath me that was capable of running at the front. And like I always say, in Vancouver, where I'm from, we don't tan, we rust, so I don't mind the rain at all. It was tons of fun, and hats off to Louis. I think that was his first national win. That was a hell of a ride.
It was a really fun race out there. You know, Louis got out front right away and put down a good pace. Definitely hard to catch him. He was riding great. Hats off to Louis and Darren for both being on the podium. But overall, it was a bit slippery. I was struggling a little bit with rear grip, which I'm sure Darren could see. It was definitely challenging out there, but lots of fun to ride. Definitely interesting having so many people up front dicing it up. It makes it totally interesting and fun. And just wouldn't be able to do it without my whole Honda Canada Accelerated Technologies team. You know, we worked so hard all weekend long in the dry setup, and then had a good bike for the dry, and then quickly had to try to convert that to a rain setup this morning. So we did the best we could and had a lot of fun out there. Hope that the fans liked the passes in the infield there.
Man, what a race. I've been working really hard to get here, and it took long, but I finally got here, you know. So I'm really happy, and I gotta thank everyone who helped me this week. Will Sport, White Fitness, Annie, my wife, Sandra Mel, Scorpion Helmets, and Honda Canada. And that's it, man. I'm really happy about this.
Ladies and gentlemen, your top three. Darren James in third spot, Jody Christie in second, and Louis Rafa, somewhat at a loss for words, in first place.